This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
The Kohberger case has never lacked for controversy, but the last few weeks have brought a fresh one to the table: crime scene photos. If you've been on X or Facebook lately, you've probably seen some of them being passed around. Sometimes blurred, sometimes not, sometimes with all the sensitivity of a medical examiner's report. Sometimes just showing the empty shell of a house that's been talked about to death, but never really seen. For more than 2 years, the gag order kept a lid on nearly every visual detail of this case. Now, for better or worse, the lid's off in certain corners of the internet. And like with everything in this case, there's outrage on one side, curiosity on the other, and a big murky middle in between. What do these pictures actually show? In some cases, not much more than a room, a staircase, a wall. In others, the signs of what happened there are very visible, even if blurred. And that's the rub. For people who've been reading detailed graphic affidavits for years, is it really more harmful to see the spatial layout of the scene? Or is it crossing a line that can't be uncrossed? There's a debate here about the line between transparency and exploitation, and whether the release or leak of these photos helps anyone except the people looking for shock value clicks. There's also another story running in parallel. Daily Mail is reporting that even in solitary confinement, Kohberger isn't exactly living in total silence. Inmates have found a way to weaponize the prison's HVAC system, shouting through the vents to harass him at night, keeping him awake, making sure he knows he's not forgotten in there. And not in a good way. And if that report is accurate, it's the kind of prison justice that doesn't show up on a sentencing order, but it can make life inside just a little more miserable for a man already locked down 23 hours a day. Both topics raise the same underlying question. What does justice look like once the trial is over, or never happened in this case, and the headlines fade? Is it in the controlled release of evidence so the public can see it for themselves, or is it in the small, petty, relentless ways a prison population reminds a high-profile inmate exactly where he is and who's in charge? Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, joining us to parse all of this out. Let's get into it.
So I've been one. I have posted probably at least a dozen.
Yeah.
I'm going to say around a dozen. Very careful to select ones that, of course, have nothing to do with any, bodies where you could see anything in that vein, and actually very few, and I slimmed them down so you could even see very little blood spatter. I think one I had a little bit more than the that was.
There was one you had that had a little blood in it, but everything else didn't look like a whole lot. Yeah.
I think really for everybody who's followed this case, because of that gag order for 2.5 years, everybody, sleuths and just, people who follow true crime, they wanted to see, what did this house look like? How could this have happened? How could nobody have seen him come in? How could you not hear? What was his trail that he took? Just all the, sort of investigative kind of, glass they wanted to put on it, right? They just wanted to take a look at everything. And I just felt like, listen, we're posting, everybody's posting documents that gruesomely describes what happened to all these victims. I mean, it's gruesome. And yet, so we can read it, but we can't look at what the bedroom, how it was configured.
I have no problem with getting the bedrooms configured. I mean, is it just the law that allows this to happen? Is there anything that could have been done to stop the photos from getting out? I guess I don't know. I get in the right minds, law enforcement folks, people like yourself, and all that. But I don't know. When I heard that they were coming out, and I don't know, are there really gruesome ones out there? I don't want to see them, but are there ones that show stuff?
Well, right now, Judge Hippler is making a decision
Okay.
about those.
I hope.
But they're there.
Yeah.
They're out there. And I pray those don't get released.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them. I think both sides will fight to not have them released. Look at there's no positive for Kohberger's side to have that happen. And there's no positive for the prosecution. Nobody wants those out there.
Or is there positive for Kohberger's side? Not like as in any sort of defense side, but in the world of Kohberger showing off his work in a very, I'm not trying to be sick, but it's the same type of way like BTK describes stuff too, where it was like, I don't want to take credit for someone else's work when he's accused of other crimes.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Believe me, I think he would love to see everything out there. I think he enjoys this.
Yeah.
This is what he enjoys. It's like his work that's being commemorated. His work is out there for everybody to see what he did. And of course, the longer all of this goes on, the more he's happy with it. I mean, BTK was the same way. He's in a wheelchair and still, got all involved in this crime. So they love this. But nevertheless, could they get out? Sure. I mean, John Benet Ramsey's are out.
Yeah.
For a very brief moment, the Delphi murder girls, they were out. Sure. They can be out, Tony. It's, freedom of information.
It is. And I guess, whoever wants to look at them can look at them, but I don't want to be part of that. As long as, I like what you put out, what I've been generally seeing, I have no problem with. It's just when you get to like John Benet type ones where it's like, yeah, can't unsee that. Does not help me with the case. Already knew in my mind just how dark and horrible this sort of thing was. But yeah, it's just icky. One more thing on this. We're hearing reports, Daily Mail reporting that Kohberger, although he is in solitary confinement, there's vents, there's, HVAC systems that go throughout these prisons. And, you got to have some sort of air circulation, even in solitary confinement. And the prisoners like to shout through the vents to each other. And the report is that he's getting a little bit harassed, or a lot harassed, saying he can't sleep at night, that people are tormenting him left and right. Again, it's reporting from Daily Mail, which is usually pretty solid. What's your take on that? Do you think that's true? Do you think Kohberger is already, even in solitary, starting to get a little prison wrath sneaking up on him?
Well, first of all, the source reporting on this, I think, is probably accurate. I think this would be an odd thing to just come up with. Oh gosh, they're shouting through the vents or whatnot. So, and there's so many people that would be privy to it, right? All these prisoners telling their, loved ones about what they're doing, all the guards, so it's something that would be easily leaked.
Sure.
So I think it makes a lot of sense, that A, they're doing it, and that B, it's happening. So when I look at the logic of it, I think it's probably happening, Tony. Do I think it's a good thing? I'm sickened. I will always be about how the case came out. Half of me is that way. Half of me, I'm so glad that there's closure. I don't know if closure is the right word, but at least it's over for the victim families. But Tony, prison justice is going to keep trying to find its way because those prisoners can become really famous if they do something to Bryan Kohberger. And that's what the drive is.
What do you think I've seen both arguments on both ways of this, saying they should be afraid of Kohberger. Do you think they should be afraid of Kohberger?
No.
Yeah.
No, listen, he's a kid in there. I mean, he isn't a career, like most of these lifers and people in these prisons, maximum security. These are really bad guys who've been in the system for years. They know all the tricks. This is a brand new world from him. The only thing he knows about this world is what he studied in a textbook.
Yep.
That's it. So no, I don't think they need to be away. And remember that he's not what they fantasize about.
No.
That's not his thing. His thing is sleeping beautiful women.
And at the end of the day, his wannabe attitude to be this killer put him where the wannabes go. And he may still be that wannabe, but he's going to experience the real thing, hard and firm, real soon. Once those doors open a little bit, and it's not just shouts that are coming from the vents, but sweet nothings being whispered into his ear. What Jennifer just laid out there, it hits at the heart of two uncomfortable truths. First, about the photos. There's a world of difference between evidence that informs and images that exploit. Seeing the configuration of a bedroom or the path through a hallway can help the public understand the logistics of the crime. Answer the how that's lingered for so long. But seeing the most graphic moments frozen in pixels, that doesn't help build the case. It doesn't make the facts clearer. It just adds another layer of trauma for families and turns the crime scene into clickbait. The reality is, in the digital age, once an image is out, it's out. JonBenet Ramsey, Delphi. We've seen how quickly something meant for an evidence locker can and end up on a Facebook feed. And then there's the prison piece. The vent shouting is happening the way it's been described. It's a reminder that solitary confinement isn't always so solitary. Sound carries, word travels, and in a high-profile case like this, there is no shortage of people inside who'd love to say they got under his skin, or worse. And Jennifer's right, for some inmates, targeting a figure like Kohberger isn't about moral outrage, it's about status. It's a maximum security world. Notoriety is currency, and making a mark on the Idaho Four guy could be seen as a payday of its own. Neither of these things, leaked photos or prison harassment, changed the outcome of the trial. Or there was no trial. The outcome of what he admitted to. They don't change the fact that he's in for life, but they do shape the narrative that plays out afterwards. They affect how the public continues to perceive the case and how families have to live with the aftermath. And in Kohberger's mind, how much control he still has over his story. For a certain kind of offender, even notoriety in negative form can be gratifying. For everyone else, it's a balancing act. Transparency without voyeurism, justice without cruelty, for cruelty's sake. So maybe the better question to leave with isn't whether these things should happen, but what purpose do they serve when they do? Do they bring us closer to the truth? Do they help the families, the community, the record of the case, or are they just the noise that fills the space after the verdict is read? Because in the end, the case may be closed in court. But out here, the ripples keep the water moving, and not always in the direction of clarity. Tell me your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. Search for us wherever you get podcasts. Search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Make that same search on YouTube and find us there if you're not already there. And like I said, tell us in the comments what you think and press subscribe so you don't miss any of our coverage in this case. Hit that little bell notification so you don't miss anything there on YouTube. We do greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Tony Bruschi. We will talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.